Hello, YouTube. This is Don Freeman back at it again. Had some thoughts this week. My first video last week was a jumping start off point, and had some thoughts all during the week. This is March the 11th, and we had a really crazy weekend to stock market where, for people who don't know, it started with the crypto crash, which a guy who started the FTX, which is like a crypto exchange traded fund, kind of ripped people off on their money. And that whole thing kind of collapsed. And now this week, we had a bank that dabbles in crypto. It collapsed. They had the FDIC come in and take over control of their bank. It was a Silicon Valley bank. And it gave me a lot of thoughts on, you know, a lot of people know there's risks in investing, and a lot of people know, your stock's going to go up and down, but a lot of people don't realize that other, extraneous factors that can hit you when you're in the middle of your investment vehicles. Um, the way this happened was, kind of like a domino effect. Um, People who had their money in the crypto after the FTX thing happened were trying to start pulling their money back. So in the past 3 to 4 months, people's crypto kind of stayed stagnant. If you had Bitcoin, Bitcoin had pulled back to the low 20,000s a coin. And like right now, they are at 19 grand for a coin. And so all those things tend to kind of domino effect on each other. So we had banks, a lot of banks had an investment in crypto. And this bank had a little bit of investment in crypto, but it kind of was linked to the crypto exchange traded funds. And so then what it did is it kind of brought in other people's money, affected other people. And Silicon Valley Bank has a lot of startup investment with tech, and tech is just like one of those things that so many factors can kind of can join together, and you're like, well, my crypto is my money converted into digital coins. Yeah, but money's money, and money and it kind of affects everybody. All kind of different businesses, all kind of different avenues out there. Um, I started the week off. I knew that this week we were going to have the CPI data and some meetings with the Fed. Uh, I think it's Jerome Powell. And so I kind of figured stocks were going to stay stagnant this week. But sure enough, when the word came down that that bank got taken over by the FDIC, it was a ripple effect. So this whole week, there was a couple stocks here and there that may have benefited. I believe as everybody made a run on their banks, I seen J.P. Morgan Bank, their stock price kind of went up, and so that's kind of an effect when you got a proven business. Things like that really don't affect you. Um, you know, when you're doing good business, people see that, and they'll kind of gravitate to you. Um, I was looking at some of my other stocks that don't have anything to do with financials. Um, I have a couple of stocks like Ford Company, and even though that's the auto industry, but certainly because it's banking and because a lot of companies have debt and investments from financial institutions. Uh, my Ford stock went from around $15 down into the 12s, and that's just one thing you got to live with when you're investing. Um, I spent the week again doing some reading in the books that I had talked about in my first video. Um, One good thing about it is it's easy to kind of conceptualize the information that's given you and put it into work for you. I kind of took a reevaluation of some of my stocks, and I got some stocks that I would say are kind of overlap. I got some ETFs that kind of are driven by a sector. I got some that are the real estate REITs. I got some that again do the covered calls for you, and that's how they generate their money. But when you look at all their holdings, a lot of their holdings would be the financial stocks or the real estate REITs, and then go into pharma and then industrials and tech. So these are things you want to do when you're doing your investing, is always, evaluate what you're doing, think about what you're doing. Um, of course, you always have two ways of investing. You got people who are investing for growth, and companies that are growth companies usually don't pay any dividend. And so you're kind of beholden by how well the business is run and are they growing their earnings. Um, I got mostly dividend paying stocks. And so my stocks are more of the stocks that I know that the growth is not going to be there. A lot of them are well-known companies that they do have growth, but I'm looking at that dividend payout because, of course, when you start investing, you want to start as young as you can, because the younger you start, the more time in the market you got. The more time in the market you got, and the longer the more time you have to watch dividends and compounding of your interest to start taking effect. I got a lot of dividends paying stocks that I would say the yield is rather high, between 5 and 10%. And that's one thing I was looking for. I'm 45 years old, and I wanted to, have a income started that, is not something I have to work for. You definitely got to have a job. You definitely want some type of other side hustles. But, having stocks and dividend paying stocks is a great way to have a passive income. Um, Another thing I was thinking about, I was looking back on how I got started, and one thing that happened to me last year was I got sick and had to stay in the hospital, and luckily I have insurance through my job, but the stay in the hospital was very costly, and coming out of that, I had my stocks up to around 12 grand at the time. And then, going to the hospital, getting hit with so many type of bills, so many type of problems all at the same time. Luckily the dividends were coming in, and it was, helping to build my stocks. But at the same time, when the bills came in, I said, well, one thing that would be smart is to go ahead and, put a lump sum down on what I owe the hospitals. Some of the other bills, you get your radiologist, you get your lab work bills, a couple other bills for the doctors and nurses. So at the same time, my insurance, I pay every 6 months on my insurance for cars. And so that was coming up in December. Plus, of course, you have Christmas coming up. So I took that time to say, the dividends throughout the year of 2022 were great, and it was doing what I wanted to do, but it'd be smart to get a jump on some of those bills. So I didn't make any real changes. I still paid my insurance off. I put a lump sum on the bills for my hospital stay. Still had a good Christmas. My sister came down from Chicago with her two kids and her husband, and certainly my brother. I gave him a good Christmas and everything. Mom and dad and everybody. And so I didn't have to change anything because that's the benefit of investing is you're putting yourself in a better position versus if all you're doing is working and all you're doing is working for a check and then you're caught in that rat race where you're living check to check. Well, looking back now, everything kind of worked out for me. I did take a good amount of money out. Right now, I'm back at around 8,500 in my brokerage account, which is fine. Um, in February, I kind of looked at where I pulled the money from, where I got my dividends, and you know, uh, one thing that happened was I had a dividend come in around December when I wanted to pay on all that stuff, and after that dividend came in, I kind of just wiped out and pulled out all that stock and used that stock to cover everything. And the way I had my dividend set up was, uh, I had the stock to pay me on the first week of the month. I have some stocks that pay me kind of halfway through the month. Then I have a stock, Prospect Capital. They pay me around the 20th, around the third week of the month. And then a lot of the ETFs will pay right at the end of the month. Some will pay on the first of the month, which to me is kind of just like still the end of the month. If I was to have to buy a stock and want that payout, well, it'd have to be that same month. And even if it's the end of the month or the first, well, it all to me is in that month. So I kind of looked at that and tallied it up, and I said, okay, that wasn't half bad. And then, in January, in February, I kind of took that time to start buying back some of that stock that I wiped out. And so, kind of got back on that stock to getting a dividend, which was a small amount of, you know, 48 cents. You do that like, 12 times during the year. What is that? Like around close to $6 a year. But of course, I'm going to be building that up. Um, and then when I looked at all the dividend payouts I had for the month, I still ended up kind of getting around $70 in my dividend payouts, which is good. To me, that's, one of my higher stocks. I could probably buy two or one or two of them. I think my covered call ETFs are around $74. So that would, with a little bit on my behalf, would be one stock. But a lot of my other stocks, are very affordable. And so when you look at the compounding effect, that would be no problem to go ahead and buy a lot of those and boost the payout. If the payout on a monthly basis is 6 to 10 cents, you know, if I'm able to buy 3, 4 of them a month, that's boosting your payout, between 20, 40 cents each month. You're going up, up, up. And that's what, people looking for income out of their dividends are trying to do. They're trying to build a steady stream of income that's passive and that you don't have to work for. And so I wanted to talk to everybody about that because a lot of people are thinking about wanting to get into investing. They think to themselves, well, uh, I know the basics of investing, get into a stock while it's low, then when it runs up, sell it and get a profit. But that's easier said than done because when you're in it, there's that factor of excitement. Uh, there's that factor of second guessing yourself. And then there's that ideal that when you see a stock go up, you know, is it going up? How far? Is it going to double in price? Could it triple in price? Could it go up and stay up for a long time? And then when you want to make some money off of it, you know, if I pull it out now, you know, I don't know the next stock I want to put my money into um, that I can trust to say, I know when the growth is going to come, you know. And so that doesn't help somebody who's only really vetted and invested in one stock. Like, the bean stock that everybody loves right now is Tesla. Tesla is a stock that is kind of